some help for me personally, how to stop attracting a narcissist. You have been instrumental in my life over the last 10, 15 years. I ended a 28-year marriage, and then I lost my parents, and very careful about how I dated. And vulnerable, I suppose I was after my parents died, and met an amazing man. And I thought everything was good and played it safe, and then that didn't go well. And when I date, I end up attracting those that really aren't healthy.
Okay, how does it not go well with an amazing man? And how long did that take?
Well, he wanted to be my rescuer, and he helped me move. He seemed, we prayed all the time. He just seemed really wonderful, but he didn't really have his own opinions, his own. He never wanted to speak up. He was kind of passive, and I wasn't used to that. And
okay, stop. So that was not amazing, right?
Repeat that?
I said, that's not amazing. You said you met an amazing man, but then when you start describing, yeah, he's helpful, but he doesn't really speak up, doesn't have any opinions, and doesn't. But that's not amazing.
That's true.
So, it went further, right? And then you found out whatever we're going to hear about. But when your question is, how do I stop attracting narcissists? I guess he flipped and went totally narcissistic on you. Is that what happened?
Well, he got, I guess, kind of contacted by somebody he used to talk to, and then overnight, he no longer wanted to pursue what he was pushing so hard for with me to convince me that he was going to be for me. It just ended like abruptly.
Right. So when you say pushing so hard, you mean, how is he pushing? If he never had an opinion, and I'm a little confused. Sounds kind of passive to me. But you said he's pushing.
Yeah.
So how did those go together?
He was getting discouraged with me for not wanting to move in with him and buy a house when we had just met. A little discouraged with me for not.
Okay. All right. I got it. Lori?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to move up there to Alaska and follow you around and whisper in your ear on your dates?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You already actually do.
Okay, I want you to listen to yourself. I'm gonna pull my hair out here. I don't have any left after my wife chopped it off last weekend in a good way. Thank you very much. COVID was.
Oh, it looks good. It looks.
I had a helmet going on after 8 weeks. Look, I want you. If you're going to protect yourself, you called and said, how can I stop attracting narcissists? All right, so. I don't know. We're going to attract all sorts of people, right? You can't really stop that part. You can stop your side of the Velcro, right? So you have Velcro. It's got two sides. You take Velcro and try to stick it on a wall where you had to put the other side of it. It's just going to fall off. So what you can do is you can get in your side of this, and you can begin to open your eyes. And here's the internal work that needs to go on. I want you to open your eyes to allowing negative information to come up on your screen and have some sort of value. And sometimes our needs will stop that from happening. So if I'm really, really hungry, I come in from a trip and I hadn't eaten all day, and I started in New York, and it was 4 a.m. here, and whatever. I missed all the meals and had a 7-hour flight, and I landed LAX, and they've lost my luggage. And I'm wandering here at 2 a.m. I'm starving, and everybody's asleep. And I'm going to make a sandwich, and I pull out. And the only piece of cheese we've got, for some reason, is back in the back of the drawer. And it's so gross and moldy.
I know what you're going to say.
I'm hungry.
But I've
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. You're gonna listen to this. So I just, I'm gonna kind of ignore that, and a lot of times you can, right? But for whatever reason, I'm so hungry, I'm gonna eat it anyway. All right. I saw it, but I wouldn't let it have the weight it should have because I'm so desiring of my relationship with this cheese. Now, you said you needed rescuing at the time. He came in and he gave you a bunch of cheese. It's great. But there was so much mold on that, even from the beginning. He's pressuring you to move in with them. He's not having any opinions of his own. There's a lot of things here. Why don't you let yourself say, I don't like that? And I'm not going to step further into something that I don't like. Now you can talk.
Well, what I was doing was I was used to being in relationships with overt or more assertive people, and he was less of that. And so I convinced myself to just had a chance. And
you did give it a chance, but you said you went way further, that you got to the place, you went far enough to where you were hurt and disappointed.
Correct.
Okay. We're going to talk again one day. I want you to call me back because we're out of time.
Okay.
But here's what I want you to ask. Here's what I want you to ask yourself. Since I'm not in Alaska following you around on all your dates going, did you notice the guy doesn't have an opinion? Whispering in your ear, did you notice this is the fourth time he's tried to push you into moving into him with him after you said no? Did you notice it? Since I'm not there to do that, I want that voice to be in your head.
Okay.
Let it have weight. Let it have weight. You will begin to wake up and see narcissism for what it is in its many, many disguises and many, many forms. Sometimes some of the most narcissistic people are helpers because that's how they control people.
I figured that out.
Yeah. See, we think narcissists are selfish. Absolutely. They're helping out of selfish reasons. A good person, when you say no, they're going to love your no as much as your yes.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Lori, call me back. I want to talk to you about this some more. Okay?
Okay. I appreciate your help. My big question for you, sir, is how do it's kind of like the opening statement of what you were talking about. And I thought, I'm going to reword my question about not that I have, quote, been told that my husband is a narcissist, but that he does have narcissistic tendencies. So throughout the 20-something years, and it was like you just said at the very beginning, someone that, they put you on this platform and all that because they have their own weakness. And that's what happened at the very beginning. And then all of a sudden, all this came out. And over 20-something years, it's been where I don't feel like I have a voice, and I'm trying to get that back. We've dealt with alcoholism, infidelity, different things we've gone through. But
and when you say we've gone through and dealt with, was that in a really, really deep, structured way? Did y'all go through treatment center or in family counseling and couples counseling and all that for an extended period of time that he was involved in and bought into?
Well, let's see how to kind of put this in a nutshell is we've gone through counseling for quite a long time before this ever was discovered. And somehow he always seems to charm the people. but I finally found one that he did charm the person.
There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
stop. If I can say one
Yes.
thing, did you guys hear what she just said? That she finally found a counselor that he couldn't charm. Okay. Now, I'm jumping way ahead here or sideways or something, but this is why I tell people all the time, when you've got an addict or you've got some sort of characterological problems that you're dealing with, make sure the counselor that you're going to is somebody that's dealt with gazillions of those and spots it in the first 5 minutes, or they'll go right down the path as well. Okay. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. And so I was getting feedback from him that, well, every time we get to a certain point, you want to stop going to that counselor. And he said, I think it's just because when they get to you. And I'm like, no, because I'm feeling like they're already like sucked into your, great talent of being charming. And I finally
that should be, well, hold on, that should be something that's said in the session. See, that's in the session where you turn in the counselor and say, look, I feel like you're getting sucked in by him right now.
I do remember telling one specific one that I just said, I feel like you guys are kind of like best friends and we're not really kind of getting to the root of things. And then, I kind of, after that, I said, I'm not going back. I'm not wasting our money or time because this is not working.
Good. You're a consumer. Okay. So give me the question.
So I guess the biggest question that I'm struggling with right now is that, I feel like I've done a lot of work. I've done, the things that I noted earlier, but I feel like at this point, I don't have my kids at home anymore. I'm an empty nester, like you've spoken about. And I'm redefining who I am, and I'm trying to get those, it's weird to say voices, but that's what it is. It's like the constant things that you've heard for 20 whatever years.
There are voices. They are voices.
How do I get past that constant voice that is really stuck in my head of you can't do this, or why do you think you can do this? It's just a negative type thing that I keep feeling whenever I want to try to do, and then I just don't.
Oh, when you want to, I'm trying to understand, you can't do this, meaning when you want to take a step out in life and do something new, is that what you're talking about?
Well, that and just feeling good about myself. It's kind of all wrapped into one.
Okay, I thought we were talking about your husband, but you said a lot of these voices you think came from him. Okay, all right. So let me give. This is a great question, and I would like to have. I wish we had. I don't have, but you probably do, and you can go back and look at it in your head. Sort of the video of kind of like, the things you've tried. Okay, but there's a lot of times, there are a lot of attempts, and there's components missing sometimes, or sometimes you're in such a storm that if you want to remodel a house, it's hard to do it when you're in a blizzard, right? And if you're dealing with all this chaos, you have been in a blizzard. If you're dealing with infidelity and alcoholism, that's like you're trying to protect yourself from an onslaught. It's hard to do. It's hard to do a lot of remodeling other than the remodeling that takes place to set the limits against that stuff and interact with it better. Okay. So that could be when you say, I've done this and this or this, it could be that could be part of it. But sometimes there may be some missing pieces. So let me tell you kind of the easy way. The easy way. Nothing's easy. It's worth it. But the 5 years of graduate school and more way of understanding this. There's 2 or 3 things to remember in terms of voices in our heads. Where do we get them? All right. There's 2 places we get them. One of the places we get them is we get them from inside of ourselves, because every human, And this is what extreme humanistic psychology is wrong about. And I don't mean that from a faith perspective. I mean it from a scientific perspective. There are different schools of thought in the psychology world. Some of them are extremely humanistic, meaning every single human is born 100% like a blank slate with nothing there. And if anything negative comes along, they got it from the outside. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, no, not so much. If that were true, no kid would ever need to be disciplined, right? Or have limits or anything like that. Or you'd never, we inside, okay, every human, and this is where other schools of thought, like if you look at the way that narcissism is looked at, some people think, oh, the poor narcissist just didn't have enough nurturance. And other people think, no, they didn't have enough limits on their arrogance and their self-centeredness and enough, because that was there too. So we come into the world and we have the potential, okay, for this judgment inside of us. And many times that judgment in a loving person, that judgment, that envy, that kind of anger that is part of the broken human condition, that gets turned against the self. Okay. So sometimes we just have a tendency to punish ourselves because every human has a sense of justice inside of them. Okay. And like critiques, that's what justice does. We're born with that. But sometimes it turns against ourselves. Okay. And in addition to that, kids get bad voices put on them. They don't get loving discipline. They get angry discipline, or they get unrealistic expectations and all that. So I'm saying all this to talk about the path. I said this, keep trying to make this quick. It's hard to make it quick. But the first thing is that we're walking around with these voices, and sometimes it's hard to tell which ones come from me and which ones came from the outside. But at some point, it doesn't matter because they live inside of me. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Here's what we know neurologically from research, that it takes about 5 to 7 positive messages to overcome one negative one. That's how strong this stuff is. That's how powerful it is.
I'm aware. Yes, sir.
Right?
I'm very
If somebody goes to a job review, a performance review, and the boss says, "Oh, this is great. Now, this one area I'm not happy with over here." What does the person go and obsess about all night? It's the one negative thing they hear, right? A lot of times.
Right.
Okay. So I'm saying all this to say this. How did those voices get in there? Well, some of them come from us, but most of them, the power of them came from experiences in relationships. All right. Yeah. One of my favorite studies, they tested math students in a race with high IQs on computer screens, subliminal messages, looking at their brain scans. And when the ones with a critical father, when his name came up on the screen that they didn't even know they had seen it, their brain performance went down. The ones that had a positive father, when his name was put up on the screen, their brains performed higher. Okay? Mm-hmm. So how does this apply to you? You have got to get in a place, and there's a lot of things wrong with this term, but it's right in a lot of ways. Get in a place where you are reparented with different voices. So that's where when people go to, for example, they go to a boundaries group or, boundaries.me, they get in a forum or whatever, and they start to, they're processing the stuff. And that group comes around you and says no to that critical voice. No, you are doing the right thing here. You are loved. We care about that over and over and over and over and over and over. that starts to get wired in a deeper way than the negative one, and insight into the negative one to know, wait a minute, that's not me, that's not God, that's not reality, that's whoever's voice. And you learn to shut that one down. You learn to go with this one. All right. But then that doesn't do it. It's not enough.
Right. Now I know.
What's next?
I was going to add to that. 'Cause I when I was going through counseling, I was like, you know what? I think I got it. Like, this is great. And then the longer that I was away from it, it went back. Like,
Yes,
I kind of started.
right.
Like, nope.
You're right. And it's not only the, exactly, but it's not only the longer you were away from it, it's that it didn't come with you in an active, ongoing process. Because what I was just about to say, and I'm going to have to stop after this, is it's like when people come up to me and say, I would go try stuff and do stuff, but I don't have the self-confidence. How can I get more self-confidence? And I say, you're not going to like the answer, but here's how you get the more self-confidence. You go out there and you do the stuff. And then you learn you can do this. Wait a minute, the voices weren't right. Why? Because I'm telling them they're right? No, because I just did what they said I can't do. Okay, so I'm going to give you a path here. First of all, this is how neurologically things change. First of all, there is awareness, and we've done that. Okay, you said we've done that. We've added that. It's not a done deal. You keep doing that. But you're learning, here's what the voices are. I've got this issue. I stop when it happens. When I hear it, I back away. Okay, or I start to join that voice or whatever. Now I got awareness. Awareness doesn't change anything.
Okay.
It doesn't. But it is the first ingredient to changing things.
Oh, but it's not changing it. That's why I got the call.
Exactly. So what do we do then? Second step, something called focused attention. Focused attention is focusing my attention on it when it's happening, in the moment it's happening, not just in my group. But I got to find some way to draw attention to it. Wait a minute, now my husband or my boss or my wife or, they're kind of like, okay, right in that moment, oh, this is when I'm doing, I see what I'm doing now that I'm learning. Now I'm starting to shrink back. I'm not giving my voice. I'm not whatever. Focused attention, number 2. And the third one is, and this is the key one.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready for this?
Yes,
Deliberate practice.
Okay.
So that means after the awareness of what the issue is, now I've got some way of seeing that I'm doing it right now in this conversation. And then I'm going to stop what I was saying and say, you know what? I just changed my mind. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have this conversation. Or I don't want to go on the trip until you agree to blah, blah, blah. And you deliberately practice the new skill that says, I can do this. Okay. And then the fourth thing is you have relational support all the way through. And right after you have that conversation where you stood up for the first time in the tiniest little way, you run and you call everybody in your group and say, okay, I'm feeling bad. The guilt is coming in. I stood up, I said it back, and then our whole process starts over again. All right. So that's a path. But what I want you to see is, and I really wish I could talk longer, but I got a bunch of people waiting here. But I want you to see this path as something that you don't have an end date to. Whenever I hear people say, well, I tried this or tried that or went through that, this is going to be a path, not in a blizzard, okay, of just dealing with him, but your own path where you're saying, I am going to change these things. And you get this path and you get somebody in a group to help you do it. And it works. It just works. So I want you to look at it in a way that those ingredients are all there. And part of what I skipped over in the beginning, some of this old stuff, some of that's got to be processed as well. right. So you got an older brother. He's how much older is he?
He's a year older.
Oh, you're older. Okay.
And
how old are you guys? How old are you?
45, 46.
45, 46. Okay. And you got a mother that's older than both of you. And so what's the issue with mom?
So she's very, very narcissistic, and she's even histrionic. And so my brother and I basically have,
So you got some drama to the narcissist.
Yes. Yeah, both of us. And so, especially when we were young adults, and my brother and I have spent basically a lifetime having nothing to do with each other because of my mom. And she tends to isolate and make him he's the bad guy. I'm the bad guy to everybody else. So we've just moved back home, and my husband and I and family, and my brother and I are actually speaking. We've had to kind of help out our parents with health issues and things. And so we started talking.
Let me ask you a question. Your brother and you are now speaking. Were you guys just kind of going on your own paths and distant, or did you have issues with each other? Had you hurt each other and you were estranged?
It was just, kid stuff when we were kids. But my mom would exacerbate that. She would exacerbate that with both of us. And so when I would come home
you're
to
against
visit,
each other.
Right. Yes, that's what she's done. And so as we're talking now, I'm seeing how hurt he's actually been by the things my mom has done. So I've been trying to kind of be there and help him get through some of the issues. And so the thing is with my mom, my brother OD'd recently. And a lot of this has to do with the hurt that he suffered. Yes, that he suffered from my mom. And so in seeing her indifference and lack of empathy towards what happened.
Indifference to his overdose?
Yes. She thinks he's doing it for attention. And so, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so I've been trying to be there for him and overcome. And as I'm doing that, we're seeing what's happened through the years, what she's done. Puzzle pieces are fitting together. And so I've tried to sit down with her and talk to her about a lot of the hurt from the past and then the hurt that's currently going on. And it's the same behavior from the past that's resurfaced, or it's always been there, but since I've been away, I haven't had to deal with it on a daily basis. Yeah. And so in trying to talk with her, she doesn't want to hear it. She's a complete.
Why do you have to deal with it daily?
Because my dad recently died, and I've had to basically just take over a lot of responsibilities over this past year that have been, it's been really challenging because we're in transition ourselves, and it's just been overwhelming. And
is she an invalid? Is she disabled in some way?
Well, there are a lot of circumstances. She was in the hospital when my dad was in the hospital for seizures, and she was in a really bad accident just a few weeks later, and she was recovering. I was trying to.
So there's legitimate stuff that you're having to do to kind of help keep her.
Right.
So I think I got the picture. Give me a question.
Okay, so we've had this falling out since my brother had this incident, because I tried to explain to her what the problem was and what her past behavior and her current behavior. She doesn't want to hear it. Listening. And so she just basically just runs away from it. But then she goes to other people and plays the victim. And
who does she go to that matters? Who does she go to that matters?
Well, really nobody, but it's that she put it on social media. She'll say, I've had to cut her off from social media.
Great. Look, you are loving your brother here. God bless you.
Right.
And you guys are, you're building something in adulthood. Remember I talked about earlier that it's life producing. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have invited her to the party. And you can continue to invite her if you want. But you have got to understand that what matters here is being on the side of life and going forward. and you're going to love your brother, and he's going to love you, and you guys' families are going to have something together, and aunts and uncles and cousins or whatever it's, and you're going to be part of this healing, and you're going to learn a lot from not only helping him when you're in all of that. And let your mother go spew her stuff all over town if she wants, because people will recognize that, but you protect the life from that. And there, you could invite her and say, you know, Mom, now we had a difficult conversation. If you ever want to talk about those stuff again, I'll be happy to, but you know, I'm not going to ignore it. We do have to resolve it, you know, but just don't let her ruin the next 30 something years.
Okay. Right. Yeah. It's just, I think it's a religious thing where I feel like I have a responsibility to make peace. Even though she continues to hurt.
Show me.
Yeah.
Show me that.
Honor your parents.
Okay, honor your parents. I'm going to honor you, Mom, by inviting you into counseling with us so we can have a good relationship going forward. If you don't want to do that, then, you know, call me when you do. But I'm going to honor you by inviting you to have a good relationship with us. It's very honoring.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It doesn't say obey your parents, except in one instance. In the book of Ephesians, it says children obey your parents, not adults.
Right. And I've done that. I told her we need to sit down in therapy, and I told her that I'm going to have to maintain my distance. And
look, I want you to love
do that.
All of that.
Right.
But don't let her continue to ruin your life.
Right.
Did I miss a question? Yeah. Did I answer?
Yeah, yeah, you did. It was good because, you know, it is a thing where I feel like with my brother that through these things there's some healing going on there.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel guilty for keeping boundaries with my mom.
Great.
I don't want to feel guilty.
Great. Go on Facebook and say, I don't want to feel guilty. And I want everybody to come tell you what they've had to do. Look at you. You are serving her. You're taking care of all of her medical and, you know, business and all this kind of stuff. That's very, very honoring. That doesn't mean you have to put up with crap. Knives being stuck in you. No, you can be a healing agent and say, Mom, I can do this for you. And I want to do this for you. I want to help you. Now, if you start, you know, yelling at me or, you know, whatever it is she does at her, and then I probably have to, I don't know, maybe sometimes I can listen to that. I don't know, I'll put my earplugs in, but probably I won't. But I'll be glad to help with all your stuff. See, you can continue to serve her and have boundaries. There's no verse in the Bible that says, blessed are the doormats, for they shall inherit the hills. That's not in there anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you said earlier it's a bunch of religious stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take the religious stuff and put it over here, and let's go to actually what the Bible says, what Jesus said. He said, when they came to him and said, hey, your mother and your brother and your sisters, now they're over there, and he said, who are my mother and brother and sisters? Who is my family? Those who do what God wants. People that are pursuing life. He said, his spiritual family. Certainly you're going to be loyal to your biological family. But picking people that are on this path with you and protecting that path is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So don't let the religious stuff come get you. Read what the book actually says. Another place he said, you know, people, they follow him. He said, I've come to turn families against one another. A mother against her daughter. His father, you know, and he named all these relationships that are going to going to have problems because some people are going to want to go to the light. Some people want to stay in the darkness. He actually said that.
Right.
Now, I'm not telling you to not help your mom. Continue to help. Just, I'm telling you to protect what you and your brother have going here in healing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't, did I really answer the right question?
Yeah. Yeah. You helped. It did, because it just sort of confirmed how I was already feeling, because you can sometimes doubt the path that you're taking. And so, like, I know that I'm doing the right thing here. I know that, even though she's making it seem like we're both against her, it's not that. We're not against her. We're just trying to say, hey, look, these behaviors are hurtful and harmful. Can you please stop? And she refuses.
I understand. And you know what? All you can do is continue to lovingly tell the truth. And
Right.
some people will continue to attack you. But you are doing the right thing. I'll give you one more little tip, and then I gotta let you go. Is this? You said, you're doing the right thing, but sometimes it's hard. These other messages. I want you to get around some kind of support group with some people that understand this, like a boundaries group in a church, or a codependency group, or an Al-Anon group, or a therapy group. Because when you get in a group and you start telling people some of the hurtful stuff that's going on, they will help you and they will support you and they will combat those voices inside your head. So I hope you find that as well.
Right.
For you and your brother.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All righty. Thank you for your call. How many people, oh my gosh, can identify with everything Tammy was talking about? If you are a loving and responsible person, sorry, you got a hard path. Because here's what happens to loving and responsible people like Tammy. She cares. And she's responsible. She'll even take over all of this stuff in loving our mom through this. But sometimes if you're loving and responsible, then people who aren't so loving or aren't so responsible can literally play that and take you to the cleaners. And that's why loving, responsible people have to have good boundaries. See, if you're loving and you're not very responsible, who cares? Nobody's going to come to you for help, right? You can't, not responsible. I don't want you helping me. You don't want somebody helping you that's not responsible. But they're loving, well, great. If somebody's overly responsible, but they're not loving, then they'll just do what, they'll take care of their mother and say, shut up, I don't want to talk to you. And they'll be unloving in it. But the loving and responsible people, they actually have a conflict. They got to do both. And that's where it gets tricky. So, sorry, but good. It's good that you are one. I'm just sorry. It's going to be hard at times. But, hey, that's why everybody's here to help.